Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of this lacy spider stitch shawl tutorial. Wow, that is a mouthful every time I have to say it. Right, so anyway, moving on. So this this part of the video is going to be how to finish off your shawl. So I'm just at the point where I've done 7 single crochets, as you can see. And this would be a row where normally I would do my outside increases as well as making my bridges. So what we're going to do is, when your shawl's big enough, don't do any increases, but still do your decreases on the single crochets. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a beginning shell. So that's our beginning shell in there. Oops. Nearly. There with. Right, so our beginning shell. Now we would normally do 2 shells in this space, but we're just doing 1. And then chain 2. And then jump down here and do your 5 singles to do your decrease. So 2, 3, 4 and 5. Chain 2. Now we're at the part where we have 2 bridges. So what we're going to do here is we are just going to do a 3rd bridge now. So again, in that shell, do another shell. I'm actually going to chain 1 in between these. Because otherwise it's going to end up bunching all together. So that's first bridge, that's second bridge, and now we've got a 3rd one with a chain 1 in between those shells, just so it doesn't kind of like wrinkle up or want a bunch together, just so it will help. So chain 2, then jump down and do these 5 singles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 5. So what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat what we've done on this first section. So it's going to be a chain 2 and then a shell in the previous row shell, chain 1 and then a shell, and that's your stitch repeat for this row. So I'm going to finish this row off camera and I will be back in a few moments. Right, so I've just finished that row, as you can see. So these are starting to close and these are starting to just go straight up, and what you're going to find is the outside edges are going to kind of curve in slightly, which gives a really nice kind of edge to the finishing part of your shawl. So what we're going to do, I've chained 1, I'm going to turn. So now this is row 2 of our edge, and I'm just going to slip stitch back in that first chain 2 space. So again, do a beginning shell. So that's our beginning shell there, and we're just going to continue on doing these the same in these chain 1 in these single crochet areas. So what I'm going to do is there's just 3 left to do in here, so I'll chain 2. So I'm going to go in and do my 3 inside single crochets. So that's that there, and 1 and 2, and then a shell in the shell. So there's 1 half of that. Sorry, the lighting's not brilliant in here today, so I'm trying to be as descriptive as I can. Right, so now we're at there, we're going to do chain 1, And then in between these two shells, in this chain 1 space, what we're going to do is we are just going to do 1/2 of a shell. So that's just 2 double crochets together, just like that. Then a chain 1, and then a shell in the next shell. So that's a full shell this time, so that's 2 together, chain 2, 2 together. 2 together, chain 2, and 2 together. Just like that. I hope you've been enjoying this tutorial so far. I've enjoyed making it. So I think it's a lovely little design. And then chain 2, and then jump back down and do your 3 singles to decrease from your 5 single crochets. As you can see, it's sitting nice and flat. We're getting a bit of a straight edge there, which is lovely. So I'll just show you this 1 stitch repeat once again, and then I'll finish the rest of my row off camera. So do a shell in the next shell. Chain 1, and in this chain 1 space underneath, just in here, we're doing 2 double crochets together. So it's like half of a shell. Chain 1, and then shell in the next row's shell. Just like that. Right, I'm going to finish the rest of this row off camera, and then I will be back for row 3 of this edging. Right, so final row time. Let's get it on. So what I've done is I have just done a slip stitch back into the previous shell there, and I'm going to start with a beginning shell, like we have been doing for this entire pattern. Right, so we need to get over this gap to this section, so I'm just going to start by chaining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Is that going to give us enough reach? Yes. And in this first chain 2 space on the other side, we are going to do a shell. So that's bridge that gap nicely. This will space out a little bit better. And then we are going to chain 2, and in this next space right here, which I believe is a chain 1 space, we are just going to do 2 double crochets together. Chain 2, go into your next chain 2 space and do 2 double crochets together, chain 2, and then do another shell in the next space. And now we've reached another gap. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. What this is going to do is it's actually going to hold the shape on this side when your shawl's actually been worn. So jump over and do a shell. Chain 2. This is the second part of a shell. Chain 2. In these 2 spaces right here, we're going to do 2 together. So that's 2 double crochets together, chain 1, 2 double crochets together, chain 1, and then a shell in the next shell underneath. Chain 6, yes, once it's all been pulled into shape and blocked, it will give a nice straight edge with that. It's because this pattern I actually designed it to be using something a lot thinner than what I'm using now, so it kind of holds itself in a shape. So on the other side of that gap, I'm just going in and doing a shell, chain 1, 2 together. So I think over here I said chain 2, I do apologise, but no, it's chain 1. 2 together, chain 1, 2 together, chain 1, and then a shell in the previous shell in the row underneath. So I might as well just do my last little bit here, just so I can show you this finishing corner. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then we're just going to finish off with a shell in the previous row shell in this little corner right there. Right, and then what I'm going to actually do is turn and just slip stitch back into the shell space there and pull out some yarn, because that is the end of our shawl. Oops, a bit of fluff there. And we're putting that slip stitch in there, it means that yarn's not going anywhere, and you can weave all your ends in, and as you can see, it gives a lovely edge to this lacy spider stitch shawl. There, I said it again. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, even though I had to do it in 2 parts. I just didn't want the first video to overrun, because they take forever to upload otherwise. So you can get a little stretch out if it needs it. So you can block this pattern to your heart's desire, and then there we are. That is going to be our finished result. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like me on Instagram as Crochet Kyle. Give this video a nice thumbs up or a like or even a comment. And I will see you all for my next video soon. Until then, bye.